You might know him for You Can't Touch This, but many rappers from the 80s and 90s know to watch what you say about MC Hammer.
Hammer was raw dog. He did his thing. I actually used to like Hammer.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? On the real tip. People be talking, talking about Hammer, but run up on him.
Hammer beat your
I bet
ass.
he'll beat your
monk ass. Run up on Hammer.
You know, Hammer was a big dog, man. He got respect in the streets. He came from a respected crew, and they handled business, him and his brother Lewis and the crew. When we saw each other, it was respect and love.
But MC Hammer came from the hood.
And was one of the most legit motherfuckers.
Yeah, and he was
street in the game.
You hear about those stories later on?
Yeah.
What was MC Search in my interview basically said that Hammer put a hit out on him, and they had problems in LA.
Hammer was not to be
Let me tell you.
At first, he seems innocent from his looks to his songs without cuss words, but what people didn't realize is behind the scenes, MC Hammer ain't no joke. MC Hammer grew up in Oakland, California, being raised by a single divorced mama in a family of 8 kids. Growing up in poverty wasn't easy, and this became a huge reason why he'd become successful in the future. Coming from humble beginnings motivated him to become something better. He used to dance and play baseball when he was younger, and he was on his way to play in the MLB after he got noticed by the owner of a baseball club. During this time, he got his nickname Hammer because he looked like the baseball player Hank Aaron, who had the same nickname. His baseball dreams never really worked out, so in the meantime, he enlisted in the Navy after he graduated from high school. After he was done with the Navy, this is when he started getting into music, making a Christian rap group called the Holy Ghost Boys. But the group didn't really go nowhere because after putting out a couple of songs, the group broke up. After this happened, Hammer decided to take things into his own hands. He called up 2 of his teammates from back when he played baseball and asked them to loan him $20,000 each to start a record label. Somehow he actually convinced the both of them to give him the money, and he made his own record label called Busted Records, hiring rappers, DJs, and backup dancers to work at the label. He was hustling in the streets of Oakland to make it in the music industry, dropping his first album in 1986 called Feel My Power. Impressively, it sold 60,000 copies, and Hammer was starting to get a buzz and getting played in clubs in the Bay Area. This is when a record executive noticed him at a show in a club in 1988, getting him signed to Capitol Records with a $1.7 million deal. He took his first album, added some extra songs, and dropped it as another album that same year called Let's Get It Started, going platinum twice and peaking at number 30 on the Billboard. And when he made his next album in 1990, it made him a superstar. Hammer Please Don't Hurt Him hit number 1 on the billboards in America and Canada, and it charted very high worldwide. This is the same album You Can't Touch This is on. And since it wasn't a single by itself, people had to buy the album to get a hold of the song because remember, this was the 90s. This was the very first rap album to ever go diamond just a year after release in 91. No other rap album ever did this well again until in 2004 with OutKast album Speaker Box and The Love Below. So calling Hammer a superstar was an understatement. This album eventually sold over 18 million copies. He was everywhere. MTV, commercials, movies, cartoons, Grammys. He was the hottest rapper at the time. You'd think everything would be perfect from here, but that's not the case. Hammer's clean-cut image and parachute pants had everybody thinking that he was soft, so a lot of rappers were dissing him on songs. But later on, people were gonna regret messing with Hammer. Hammer had a lot of connections down in Oakland where he grew up. Him and his family had mob ties that most people outside of Oakland didn't really know about. And one of the first rappers to figure this out was LL Cool J. In 1990, when a beef with Hammer allegedly got him socked in the face by Hammer's people after a show. This started after LL Cool J dissed Hammer back, responded to a song from '87. After this, things were cool again between LL and Hammer after they sorted things out. The next rappers to learn their lesson was a rap group from New York called Third Base. They stood out in hip-hop at the time because of the fact that the only other white rappers around in the late 80s and early 90s were the Beastie Boys. After MC Hammer dissed Run DMC, Third Base made a song called The Cactus where Pete Nice said a line that would allegedly put a bounty on their heads.
And Hammer disses Run DMC and says that he wasn't hitting in New York, his videos dissing running them. And Joey and Jay, may he rest in peace, that really bothered them. bothered us. Like, how are you going to diss the dudes that gave you a lane? We took it personally. And then, you know, Pete said the line that really pissed Hammer off about Cactus turned Hammer's mother out.
Household 2 and a stank hole. The Cactus turned Hammer's mother out.
MC Hammer did not take this well. Originally, it was meant to be a play on words of the names of 2 of their albums, but to Hammer, it really looked like they was talking about his mama. But in the meantime, everything was alright till they booked a flight to LA on tour. Allegedly, their manager got a call from one of Hammer's people telling him there's a $50,000 bounty on third base, specifically on MC Search, if they came to LA. Keep in mind, Search didn't even start this whole thing.
And the president of Def Jam at the time was a woman named Carmen Ashurst Watson. She gets a call just as we get on the plane. Whoever was on the phone said, "Hey, is third base still coming to LA?" And she said yes. And the voice said, "Good, they're dead," and hung up the phone. Eric B calls Russell and goes, "Yeah, it's true. There's a hit. There's $50,000 dead."
Things got so bad so fast that allegedly the group had to get protection because they were being hunted down by the blue guys in LA. And according to Search, things escalated when they went to the mall. They met some fans and they were signing autographs, and in the middle of all this, they started getting pressed by the blue guys.
This dude comes in, and this was his name. It wasn't even, his name was Pookie. And he tells us he's here to stay by us the entire time. That Mike sent him, staying with us the entire time. And I said, "Oh, you're supposed to protect me?" Go down the escalator, all these chicks start noticing me, they start rumbling, I'm starting to sign autographs, right? When, you know, you're around like people that want to meet you, you know, you got your head down, you're signing autographs. And I started to look up, and there's these dudes coming from south and west, you know, and they're just walking over, whatever. And I'm signing autographs, and I look up, and I'm signing autographs, and as they get closer, the dude over here, he pulls the rag up. Dude over here, he pulls the rag up. They start to spread the girls, and as they come up to me, Pookie whistles. Everything stops. He throws up some signs, whatever signs he throws up, and it's one dude right in front of me who's got his hand on his ratchet, pulls down his mask, and he goes, "Yo, man, I love that record, but I was finna smoke you right now, homie." And the dude right next to me comes over, he goes, "Yo, can I get an autograph, man?" He's like, "Yo, homie, I was finna smoke you too, you know, fucking Pookie didn't say nothing, I was finna smoke you, man." And I'm like, "Who you want me to make the autograph out to?" so I'm like, "Oh, yo, this shit is real."
Somehow this whole situation didn't stop here, because the next day, Third Base had an interview on the radio in LA. They had someone calling into the station, and guess who it is? MC Hammer. The whole situation gets a lot worse when MC Search called Hammer a live on air.
And you guys, this is one of my boys in the record, and so I just wanted to, you know, like get him on the air with us, and we'll all talk together, you know what I'm saying?
Cool.
So on the phone, and I saw him at the club last night, and so he agreed to do this. We got MC Hammer. What's up, man?
Who's this for?
What's going on, man?
Congratulations on your awards last night.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
But in this particular record that we speaking of, these fellas crossed over the line. I believe it's a line in there where they refer to my mother. And we know right now, you know, in this world we live today, everybody loves their mother. And for one reason or another, you don't play with people's mothers. And I believe that these fellas have made a mistake.
Now, mind you, I never said that lyric. Pete said the lyric, right? So I look over to Pete. "You're a rhyme, dude. Say something." Nothing. So I'm like, "All right, it." So I say, "You know what?" I said, "Man, if you feel like we dissed your matriarchal, that's okay, but you know what you did. You know what's going on in these streets. Why don't you man up and see me face to face so we can figure this out? Stop being a
The radio station allegedly gets a call from the blue guys, and they are not happy. This is when allegedly they tell the station they're gonna come after MC Search now. They evacuated Third Base out the building, and while they're on the road, they getting chased by the blue guys. And allegedly they had to get help from their bodyguard to stop it.
He takes a call live. "Greg Mack, who's this?" "Rolling 60 Crip, N-word, we finna kill them." And boop! Out! Security crowd says, we run out the fucking building. We get into the van, we start heading down the hill. There's 2 blue cars, and these dudes get out, Mac 11s, pointing at the fucking vehicle. Pookie jumps out, throws his signs up, they get back in, they leave.
After they got out of LA, MC Hammer denied everything when he was asked about it.
It's ironic that even today, 20-something years later, the Search Cat, he want his claim to fame to be, I'm telling you, Hammer was gonna have me, put in the dirt somewhere. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous that you want that to be your claim to fame. But when you only sold about 300,000 records, you gotta grab something.
A year later in 91, Ice Cube dropped the music video for a song called True to the Game, and there was a part of the video making fun of MC Hammer. One day, MC Hammer allegedly pulled up to Roscoe's in LA after being called by a friend and being told that Ice Cube was there. When Hammer and his guys came to the restaurant, allegedly they caught Ice Cube as he was just leaving, and it said that Hammer asked him to never let it happen again, and Ice Cube allegedly followed his orders. Redman was another rapper that beefed with Hammer and went on to regret it. He dissed Hammer on a skit from his album, What the Album, in 92. Hammer didn't really take this lightly, and he pressed him on the set of a TV show.
That goddamn MC Hammer, very serious about beef. Y'all motherfuckers laugh and y'all joke about Hammer. No. That was deep with and he used to what anybody who talks come to the Bay Area, they was in for it. And he was very serious about beef. MC Hammer don't play. Hammer, y'all gotta do the knowledge on Hammer, man. Even when I said about Hammer, I said, listen to my first album. When I did the skit, and I was like, you know what? That goddamn MC Hammer, him, his mama, and the whole nine. That came up to me on the last Dr. Dre and Ed Lover on MTV. When they had the last episode.
Yo MTV Raps.
Yeah, Yo MTV Raps. When the last episode they shot, when they had everybody rapping on it, MC Hammer was there. That approached me. He was like, Red, I'm gonna tell you something, you young, but I don't allow nobody talking about my mama. You understand me? I said, yes, sir. Because we was already in Oakland with EPMD, and we damn near had to bounce up out of there for that. Because they had back here. We had to get the out of here. They wasn't playing. We was almost boxed in. And I'm at a young age too. I'm like, this is not playing.
Keep in mind, all of these situations allegedly took place during the peak of Hammer's career, but eventually down the line, Hammer would have financial troubles because of how much he was spending his money. He earned as much as $33 million back in 91. But he was out here blowing that money like it was nothing. He bought 17 sports cars, but he was driven around in a limo. He bought 2 helicopters, flew on a private jet, lived in a $12 million mansion that he spent an extra $30 million on, making renovations like the front gate, a swimming pool in the shape of his pants for some reason. He had marble statues of himself all around the house, gold toilets, gold hot tubs, a basketball court, baseball field, a studio, multiple different tennis courts, 19 race horses, 200 employees that he paid routinely $500,000 a month. Keep in mind, this is all at one house. And after he spent all his $70 million, he went $14 million into debt and eventually had to file bankruptcy back in 96, forcing him to sell everything, including his house, at a loss for $5 million, more than half of what the home was originally worth. By the time he went bankrupt, the hits weren't really coming in anymore, and his music was going out of style, because by the mid-90s, everybody was more into gangster rap than his pop rap type of music. And in 2011, the IRS found out he owed them over $750,000 in unpaid taxes back in 96 and 97, around the time he went bankrupt. And apparently he owed the state of California even more in taxes, and everything got so bad he sued the IRS themselves, but he lost the case. Eventually he paid off all his debts and got his life back in control. He still does concerts and he's a preacher at weddings now. He's worth about $1.7 million now, but that's still a lot better than how he was doing back in 96. Even though he ain't killing the game how he did in the 90s, he's doing a lot better now.